Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're wading into some really personal territory. We're talking about spotting the patterns of narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, specifically in dating.
Right, in those very early confusing stages.
Exactly. Our whole mission here is really about self-protection, giving you the tools to see the red flags before you're even sure they are flags.
And that's essential because we have to start with a solid foundation. The word narcissism gets thrown around constantly.
All the time.
Yeah. But experts like Dr. Craig Melkin remind us that really narcissism exists on a spectrum. It's part of the human drive to feel a little special.
But NPD is something different. It's not just a personality trait.
No, not at all. NPD is the severe toxic end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
We're talking about a diagnosable disorder.
Characterized by what exactly?
It's a pattern of chronic entitlement, manipulation, a real lack of deep empathy, and this inflated sense of self-importance.
Which is usually just a mask, right?
Yeah, it is. It's almost always hiding a painfully fragile self-esteem. And you should know this isn't some super rare thing. Our sources cited effects around 7.7% of men and 4.8% of women.
So let's get right into it. The very first meeting. The narcissist needs that validation, that narcissistic supply.
Right.
So the way they start a relationship is basically a performance, a sales pitch.
It's a perfectly cultivated persona designed to be lovable. And you have to understand the motivation. The psychoanalyst Eric Fromm basically said they're stuck.
Stuck how?
Developmentally. They are so focused on getting their own needs for love and safety met that they can't genuinely love or prioritize someone else. The relationship is a tool for them.
And that explains the very first and maybe most jarring warning sign.
The excessive charm.
That initial seduction phase.
It's incredibly effective. They are so charismatic, so romantic right off the bat, often flaunting what you could call symbols of narcissism.
Like what, a fancy watch, an expensive car?
Exactly. Or maybe making really overt comments about your body or your job. They're testing the waters, seeing what gets them adoration.
I've heard this called love bombing. How is that different from just, a genuine fast romance?
That is such a crucial distinction. Love bombing isn't just about speed. It's an overwhelming waves of attention designed to short-circuit your emotional defenses.
So it's strategic.
Deeply strategic. It's fast-tracking intimacy with completely unrealistic declarations. You're my soulmate. I've never felt this way before. All within, days or a couple of weeks.
And it often includes future faking.
Oh, absolutely. Making these grand, detailed plans for your life together. Buying a house, traveling the world.
These they have no intention of actually doing.
None. It's purely to get you emotionally invested right now.
And this sales pitch, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No, not at all. You have the grandiose narcissist, which is the one we all picture. Loud, flashy, big gifts, huge promises.
The classic movie version.
Right. But then you have the covert narcissist, who's much, much harder to spot.
How do they operate?
It's more of an understated charm. Or, and this is key, they might play the victim. They'll share these intense, sad stories to get your sympathy.
Making you feel special because you're the one who finally understands them.
Exactly. It fast-tracks intimacy by making you feel sorry for them so you lower your guard.
So if you're on the receiving end, the thing to ask yourself is, what is my utility here?
Yes. What am I providing?
Is it my status, my looks, my money, my connections?
They're taking inventory of your life from the second they meet you, assessing your value to their story.
And once that inventory is done and they feel like they have you,
that charm starts to morph into control. And that's when we start seeing the more systemic behavioral signs.
Let's start with just day-to-day interactions.
A big one is dominating conversations. You'll notice they always find a way to steer the dialogue back to themselves.
You share a success, they have a bigger one.
Or you share a problem, and they have a catastrophe that dwarfs yours. They inflate their achievements to get that constant stream of adoration. The conversation is their stage.
And that need for a stage leads to an obsession with appearances.
Yes, and it's not just vanity. It's a deep-seated fixation on maintaining this image of superiority. The right clothes, the right car, the right title.
I've seen this constantly checking their reflection in shop windows.
That's a classic sign. And because their image is so fragile, it often leads to them criticizing your appearance just to keep themselves on top.
Which points to that fragility, the inability to take any criticism.
Even the mildest constructive feedback feels like an existential threat to them.
Why?
Because it implies they're not perfect, which shatters their entire sense of self-worth. They react with rage or hostility or just shut down completely.
This gets to the core of it, doesn't it? The empathy impairment.
It does. Our sources talk about the 3 E's.
Exploitation, entitlement, and empathy impairment.
That's it. Entitlement is the belief that they're owed special treatment. That justifies exploitation, using people. And the empathy impairment is the glue.
Can you break that down a little? What does empathy impairment actually look like?
They can cognitively recognize your feelings. They know you're sad.
But they don't feel it with you.
Exactly. Your emotion is just an inconvenience to them. It's why you'll rarely get a sincere apology unless it's a tool to get something they want.
And all this just fuels that intense need for control.
Absolutely. They demand to be in charge of everything, and they act out when they lose that control.
This is where the jealousy comes in, right?
Mm-hmm. They get jealous of your friends, your family, anyone who takes your attention away from them. You also see it in their social life.
How so?
They usually don't have many deep, long-term friends. They'll drop someone in an instant if an expectation isn't met. They tend to collect enemies, not friends.
And in the relationship, that need to be superior turns into devaluation.
It has to. To keep themselves elevated, they have to put you down, belittling you, dismissing your achievements. And you really see it when they're under stress.
They handle failure badly.
Terribly, with huge anger, total denial, or just aggressively shifting the blame onto you or someone else.
Okay, let's pivot to how this shows up in language. The subtle tells, this other blaming.
This is where it gets really sneaky. The first thing to listen for is vague and passive language.
Give me an example of that.
Instead of, I forgot to pay the bill, they'll say, the bill wasn't paid.
Ah, so it just happened. It wasn't their fault.
Precisely. Or the deposit went in as a withdrawal instead of I took the money out. They remove their own agency from the sentence.
They also use omissions, just leaving key details out.
Intentionally. They won't mention they got a speeding ticket or that they quit their job. The facts just sort of trickle out over time, piece by piece.
And if you try to call them on it,
that's when the deflecting starts. You'll bring up an uncomfortable topic, and they will smoothly change the subject without even acknowledging it. The conversation just zigs and zags.
To avoid any resolution.
And to avoid the shame. Then, of course, there's the outright blame shifting.
It's always someone else's fault.
Always. The cop had a quote to me, the alarm is too hard to set. And then there's the yeah, but move.
What's that?
You bring up something they did wrong, and they immediately counter with, yeah, but remember that time you did, and they bring up some past mistake of yours.
Just to dump the shame right back on you.
Instantly. You also have to watch their defensive responses to tiny disagreements.
This is a big one.
It is. The source material had this great story about a date. The person said they preferred a different rock singer, just a simple opinion. And the date got sullen and started pouting. He treated a simple difference of opinion as a personal attack. That is a massive red flag.
And if they feel really cornered, they just withdraw.
Totally. Stonewalling. They'll just stop responding. Or they'll physically leave, hang up the phone, claiming they need to cool down.
But really, they're just avoiding accountability.
Or they'll do the opposite. The fire hose of words. Just a confusing torrent of arguments to mentally exhaust you until you give up.
This is a lot to take in, and it's hard when you're caught up in the moment. We need some actual strategies, tools to check their intent.
Exactly. We need some check methods to test the waters.
Okay, let's start with the simple charm check.
So when they lay on that thick flattery, you're the most amazing person I've ever met, just ask a simple question.
What question?
Thanks. Why do you say that?
And what does that do?
A genuine person will give a thoughtful answer. A narcissist gets forced off script. They'll dodge, give a shallow response, or turn it back to them. It reveals the charm as a tool.
Okay, next. The immediate empathy test.
This one takes some guts. When you're sharing something really personal mid-sentence, just switch to something trivial.
Like, what time is it?
Exactly. A truly empathetic person will be confused and try to bring you back to what you were saying. A narcissist will switch gears seamlessly. It shows they weren't really engaged with your emotion.
Then there's the request and check method for boundaries.
Yes. Set a very small, clear boundary early on, like I don't take calls after 8 p.m. Then watch their behavior, not their words.
If they keep calling after 8.
It shows a total disregard for your autonomy. They hate boundaries because boundaries limit their control and their supply.
And finally, the affirmation check method.
If you notice, they always need praise. They're either the hero or the victim. Try intentionally holding back that praise.
That feels a little mean.
It can feel uncomfortable, but watch their reaction. Do they get frustrated? Do they try to guilt trip you? It reveals that the praise is a necessary tool for them, not just a nice thing to get.
Understanding this is so important because being in that dynamic, it takes a huge toll, that hot and cold cycle.
It's exhausting. They shower you with affection when they want something, then they lash out or ignore you when their needs aren't met. It keeps you totally off balance.
And they often try to isolate you.
Deliberately, they'll try to cut you off from friends and family, your support system. And at the same time, they're using gaslighting,
Manipulating you to question your own reality.
minimizing your feelings. You're too sensitive, or just straight up denying things they said and did.
So, if you're in this, what are the essential survival tips?
First, set and maintain rigid boundaries. They will hate it, but it's crucial. Second, maintain your support system. Do not let them isolate you.
And third,
Don't blame yourself. Their behavior is a symptom of their disorder. It is not your fault.
and you have to know when to leave. Sometimes getting out is the only way to protect your own mental health.
It is. Ultimately, spotting this early is about seeing the whole pattern, the charm, the entitlement, and the complete lack of accountability. You have to trust your gut when something feels off.
So after all this, what's the one final thought you want to leave our listeners with? The core mechanism they need to understand.
It all comes back to that idea of inventory. Narcissists are experts at taking inventory on your life, your history, your insecurities, your vulnerabilities.
You're collecting data.
They're collecting data stats. Every secret you share is potential ammunition they can use against you later in a fight.
Wow.
And that is the single biggest reason why moving slow is so essential. It denies them the detailed inventory they need to exploit you. Deny them the data.
Move slow. Trust your instincts. We hope this deep dive helps you navigate those early days with a lot more confidence. Thanks for learning with us. Until next time.